Alright, to start off with a little disclaimer, if you are a fan of TrollAI, more power to you. Game tastes are very subjective. What I will say is that a game with game-breaking bugs and unreliable frame rates and bugged features and mechanics are not. If they exist, they are irrefutable evidence of a bad experience. They may not happen to everyone, but if enough people are reporting it, it cannot be ignored. That said, I am a firm believer that TrollAI deserves the majority of the hate it gets. I did not have a fun time playing it and ran into issues immediately out of the gate. I hate to see how the end product from Spiral Games and Maximum Games came out, especially when the early screen caps and snippets we saw when the game was under Square Enix's umbrella were super promising. After all, the game was greenlit by fan votes with a whopping 98 to 2%. The fans wanted the game they saw. Maximum Games took over publishing in December of 2016, and upon release, the game received abysmal reviews. Destructoid even gave it a 1 out of 10 rating. My experience started with the choppy frame rate, an issue that a patch did not fix. What I ended up having to do was restart my Switch. Completely. I had to shut down my Switch completely and boot TrollAI before I opened any other game or app. And then and only then did I get anything remotely playable. From there, I experienced awkward voice acting, cheesy graphics, and forced features. The tutorial has you gathering materials, crafting spears, tracking hogs, and before Soul says anything, yes, looking at piles of literal shit, and then killing them for resources. I felt no connection to Otto. It could be the clunky playstyle or his weird voice acting, but I was discouraged from the get-go. Their attempt at moving the story along by destroying his village leads to what amounts to a QuickTime event, as you flee burning trees and slide down a cliffside. At this point, I will say there are reports to me from another member of the community that when this event ended and the screen went white, it never returned for him. No matter what he tried, the game was literally unplayable beyond this point. Fortunately, or unfortunately, for me, mine allowed me to continue. This is when we're introduced to the troll, combat, and puzzles. The combat is clunky. As Otto, it isn't terrible, but as the troll, there would be times when I'd be stuck in a loop with an enemy. They would run up, I would attack, they would jump back, my attack would miss, rinse and repeat ad nauseum. Eventually, I would move my position, they would hit me a time or two, and my attack would finally land and kill them. The puzzles were semi-redeeming in that they could cause some thinking to go into the playstyle, and controlling Otto and the troll separately was well executed here. At one point, Otto has to climb what is essentially scaffolding to cut away a restriction on a crashed airplane in order to clear a path, and the troll can pick up a wing from said aircraft and hold it above their head to make a platform for Otto to cross. Great use of the dual character setup. What ended up becoming frustrating is when a path was never made obvious. I spent too long looking for a direction to travel with Otto at one point, going so far as falling off and having to reclimb in areas because the jump I was expected to make was actually at an angle and not across to the next platform as I suspected. I do applaud the skill tree system they tried to use. Leveling up is a nice reward after dealing with the combat system, and having different abilities is a break in what otherwise would be very monotonous. I feel like I've droned on too long for this game. I don't feel like it deserves any more attention from me, but if anyone wants to play it, like I said, more power to you. To anybody who has played it and liked it, I'm legitimately happy for you. I always want to enjoy whatever game I play, and I enjoy plenty that other people hate. To anybody who found this game to be an unenjoyable mess, I feel your pain. Hopefully next month's Game of the Month is better. So what did you think?
Here's the deal. There's no secret that I am not a fan of TrollAI. Obviously, I had a video about a year and change ago when the game was first released. I put it in, played it, and I recorded some reactions to it that you've already alluded to. And between then and now, I've never put that cartridge back in my Switch. And I really wasn't looking forward to doing so. But for the sake of the Game of the Month, I put it back in. I gave it a legitimate shot. I played it for a little over 2 hours, and I got through to the point of the game where you have described of the pairing up and using airplane parts and trying to create a path, subsequently getting a bit lost because there was no obvious path. I would add that combat was tedious. All you had to do was switch to the troll and begin swiping away at them, and eventually you just stomp them all and swipe at them all and they die, and there's no real challenge there to be had at that early stage of the game. I'm sure it gets worse or better, whichever direction you want to think about it, as the game goes on. But I also experienced the terrible frame rates. I also had to restart my Switch in order to make the game at all playable. I also experienced some of the things that you talked about with regards to jumping at funny angles just to try to make a platform jump that seemed obvious otherwise, and at which point the character did not make the jump, and subsequently it was game over and you had to start again from where you last left off. So, looking at this in retrospect, I still stand on my original verdict of this game. The game is a pile of that which is contained therein, and honestly, the fact that the subreddit community took the meme and voted it up high enough to actually win, whether that was done as a community or if the poll was rigged. Either way, congratulations. You got what you wanted. It became Game of the Month. The only positive out of all of this is that it never has to be played again by you, by me, or by anyone who doesn't want to play it. If you want to play it, if you are up for I don't even want to call it a challenge, if you want to somehow subject yourself to TrollAndI, I wish you the best. And I'd love to hear about it in the comments if you played the game either previously or during this particular Game of the Month. I'd love to know your thoughts on it, whether you experienced something similar, whether you experienced something different, whether you like the game, whether you hate the game. Either way, just let us know down in the comments. We would love to hear from you guys about it. Otherwise, this has been the Game of the Month.
I will end by saying the meme is dead. Long live the meme.